Hi students, welcome back. In this video, I am going to discuss an important topic, that is Lee-Chatterler's principle. Lee-Chatterler principle is important for any competitive exams. Why? Because different types of questions based on the Lee-Chatterler principle can be asked. When I discuss, you will come to know what are the different types of questions which can be asked also. So, we start with the definition, then we will see the application also. See, before starting that concept of Lee-Chatterler principle, I should know few terms like exothermic reaction, endothermic reaction. During the exothermic reaction, what is the sign of delta H, which is the heat, change in heat enthalpy. Then I should know what are the things which can affect the equilibrium, because this Lee-Chatterler principle is therefore systematic equilibrium. So what are the factors that can change the equilibrium direction, etc.? That also including this. So we'll see first. See here. When the nitrogen is reacting with the hydrogen, gives 2NH3 gas with a delta H of minus 92.4 kilojoules per mole each, or N2 plus O2 gives 2NO. Again, it's a gas only. Delta H is equal to plus Q kilojoules per mole. Here I gave the exact value, I have represented with the general representations. See here, there was a delta H negative, here there was a delta H positive. Q is some values like 92.4. This also I would have written minus Q also. Yes. So when the delta H is negative, we call it as exothermic reaction. If delta H is negative. Whereas if the delta H is positive, we call it as endothermic reaction. So I should know what is exothermic, what is endothermic reaction. See, before going forward, what is exo and what is endothermic reaction, please remember certain points like enthalpy and the enthalpy change, because this delta H is the enthalpy change. So, to know the enthalpy change, I should know what is the meaning of enthalpy also, and how to calculate this change in enthalpy. Enthalpy of the product minus enthalpy of the reactant gives change in enthalpy. So, what is the meaning of this enthalpy of the reaction? Actually, we are going to study this one in thermodynamics chapter completely, also in the thermochemistry part. Students, remember one more point. Writing a balanced equation along with their physical state and heat evolved or absorbed, then we call it as thermochemical equation. So, this is one example for thermochemical equation. This is another example for thermochemical equations. What the thermochemical equation represents? Almost similar how we read. C plus O2 gives CO2. What to do? 1 mole of the carbon when combined with the oxygen, 1 mole gives 1 mole of carbon dioxide. Here also 1 mole of nitrogen, but extra that nitrogen gas combines with 3 moles of hydrogen gas, giving 2 moles of ammonia gas with liberation of 92.4 kilojoules per mole heat. As I mentioned, liberation, I will not write the minus sign here. Already, liberation is negative only. Now, what about this? 1 mole of the nitrogen gas combines with 1 mole of the oxygen gas, giving 2 mole of nitric oxide gas with absorption of Q kilojoules per mole heat. Absorption due to delta H positive. So, very important. So, if you write here solid, gas, gas, delta H is equal to plus Q minus Q kilojoules per mole. 1 mole of the carbon when burned with 1 mole of the oxygen gives 1 mole of the carbon dioxide with liberation of Q kilojoules per mole heat. Actually, it is a burning process. I can call it as delta H of combustion also. And remember, any combustion process usually heat is evolved. Any combustion process means burning oxygen, heat is evolved. So delta H will be negative in many cases, but see here, this example. It's a burning process only. Enthalpy of combustion of nitrogen only, but please remember here value is positive. It's not negative. Means combustion of nitrogen to give nitric oxide is not an exothermic reaction, it is an endothermic reaction. Majority of the combustion reactions are exothermic only, heat is evolved. But here heat is absorbed. So they may ask in the exam, in the competitive exam, they may give 3 reactions where heat is evolved, 1 where heat is absorbed. Take the odd one out. Or they may give 3 endothermic reactions, 1 exothermic reaction, take the odd one out. Third point, they may give 1 exothermic reaction, all 3 are endothermic, among this which is exothermic reaction. Or they may give 3 endothermic or they may give 1 endothermic reaction, 3 exothermic reaction, among this which is endothermic reaction. Or they may give 1 reaction which is endothermic, then they say among this which matches for the given. So different question can be there from this also. Now I said Even though burning of the nitrogen is a combustion process, Q is positive. Why it is? See, just I mentioned N2 gas plus O2 gas giving 2NO gas. This is a combustion of nitrogen. So delta H, what I expect was negative, but here I have plus 180.7 kilojoules per mole of heat is absorbed. Means this reaction is endothermic reaction. The above reaction is endothermic. Why it is endothermic? CO, nitrogen, small size. So, two nitrogens are bonded there. But because of the smaller size, bond length is very less. Bond strength is high. With the oxygen also, this is oxygen molecule is say. Again, oxygen molecules are smaller only. What it says? When we move in the periodic table from left to right, size becomes smaller and smaller. If the nitrogen size is there like this, oxygen is the next element, so its size is still smaller. So already here only the bond length is less, bond strength is high. Here bond length will be still lesser, means bond strength is still higher. When the bond strength is higher, is that can break easily? Can that the bonded molecule separate over there easily? No possibility. No possibility. Say here, I am holding this one like this. Then removing this chalk piece, my from hand, is difficult. Say I am holding only like this. Someone can remove it easily. So, as the bond strength is higher, bond breaking is difficult. So, when the nitrogen bond does not break or oxygen bond does not break, there is no question of nitric oxide formation. See here, this is nitrogen bonding, you see, strong bonding. This is oxygen bonding, you see, strong bonding. Now, oxygen bond should break. Nitrogen bond should break. Then only NO bond can be formed. Nitric oxide can be formed. Just again repeat. Nitrogen, oxygen. This this oxygen bond should break and the oxygen atom should separate. Nitrogen bond should break and they should separate. The nitrogen atom should separate. Then only nitric oxide formation takes place. But as this bonding is stronger, the breaking is difficult. When the breaking is difficult, if at all to break, we have to supply the energy. Means to break this bond, there should be absorption of energy or heat. That's why delta H is positive, even though it is a combustion process. Rare examples you are getting for combustion process where we get delta H positive. See, practical evidence. Fire would be burn. What you experience? Hotness or coldness? Definitely hotness. The surrounding will become hotter than earlier, not the cooler than earlier. Whereas if the endothermic reaction is there, since the heat is absorbed from the surrounding becomes cooler than the earlier. That's why see that during the summer you just sit near to water source. The whatever the evaporation of water is an endothermic reaction. So what they do is from the surrounding absorb the heat. So surrounding heat will get reduced. That's why we feel comfortable when we sit near to the water source like the river or the lake etc. during the summer. Because the evaporation of the water was a endothermic reaction. From the surrounding heat is absorbed, means the surrounding temperature decreases over there. N2 gas plus O2 gas giving 2 NH3 gas, giving 2 NO gas. Delta H is equal to plus 180.7 kilojoules per mole. Or N2 gas plus 3H2 gas giving 2 NH3 gas. Delta H is equal to minus 92.4 kilojoules per mole. Already said this endothermic, this exothermic. If the heat is evolved, exo, heat is absorbed, endo. Now see here. What is the meaning of this enthalpy? What is the meaning of enthalpy? The total energy of the system or the total energy possessed by the system, that is the enthalpy. Usually it's a heat content only. That's why delta H rate. Total heat content of the system. And how to represent this? H is the sum of internal energy Q and product of P into V, pressure and volume. How to calculate enthalpy? H is equal to U plus PV. U is the internal energy, where the P is the pressure, V is the volume. So total energy possessed by the system, that is enthalpy, and the calculation is by this formula. Same reaction what I do is I reverse it. 2NO gas gives N2 gas plus O2 gas. This reaction also. 2NH3 gas gives N2 gas plus 3H2 gas. What I did? I reversed it. Please remember, when reversed, if the delta H was in the positive, in the forward, in the backward, it becomes minus with the same value. Delta H becomes plus 92.4 kilojoules per mole. What is the meaning? In the forward, if it is endothermic, in the backward reaction, it becomes the exothermic. If in the forward exothermic, in the backward becomes endothermic. And there is a one important law also in this, which is called as Lavoisier and Laplace law also. Note it properly. What it says? Heat evolved or absorbed. Again I repeat. Heat evolved or heat absorbed is equal to heat absorbed or heat evolved when the same reaction is reversed. That is the Lavoisier's and Laplace law. Don't get the confusion. Just see my hand. Heat evolved or heat absorbed is equal to heat absorbed or heat evolved when the same reaction is reversed. Means in the forward reaction, if the heat is evolved, in the backward reaction heat is absorbed, and vice versa. Means in the forward, if the heat is absorbed, in the backward heat is evolved. Simplest meaning, endothermic reaction becomes exothermic reaction becomes endothermic if the same reaction is reversed. That is the Lavoisier's Laplace law. At least remember that one. Forward is exothermic, then the backward becomes endothermic. Forward is endothermic, the backward becomes exothermic. Or forward delta H is positive, then the backward delta H is negative. Forward delta H is negative, backward delta H is positive. This is the Lavoisier's and Laplace law. Learn it properly, because next concept for the Lee-Chatterley principle I need that. Now let's see the definition of Lee-Chatterley principle, then we go for the application. Just see N2 gas plus O2 gas giving 2NO gas. Delta H is equal to plus 180.7 kilojoules per mole heat. See, already mentioned, the equilibrium can be changed by the application of heat. Equilibrium constant will be constant at a given temperature only. As the temperature changes, equilibrium constant also changes. Equilibrium direction changes. So, what will happen to a reaction at equilibrium if temperature is changed, pressure is changed, concentration is changed, volume is changed? How to change the volume? By adding the inert gases. What will happen to the reaction at equilibrium? That will be given by Lee-Chatterley's principle. So, what you are applying over there, the change in pressure, change in concentration, change in temperature, change in volume are known as constraint only. Externally added one. Constraint. So, what are the constraints? Constraints are change in pressure, maybe increase or decrease of pressure. This is the constraint. Then change in temperature. That also again increase or decrease of temperature. Then change in concentration. In this, change in the concentration of the reactant, change in concentration of reactant, change in concentration of product. Again, increase or decrease. Then volume change or change in volume. How? By addition of inert gases, etc. So these are the constraints which can be applied to a systematic equilibrium. Change in pressure, change in temperature, change in concentration, or volume change. Here, if a constraint is applied to a systematic equilibrium, if constraint like the temperature, pressure, or the concentration, or the volume are applied to a systematic equilibrium, what the system tries to do? System tries to nullify that constraint by shifting the direction of equilibrium, that is called as the Lee-Chatterjee principle. Again I repeat. If a constraint like temperature, pressure, concentration or volume are applied to a systematic equilibrium, the system tries to nullify that constraint. Means if the temperature is increased, the reaction tries to decrease it. Pressure is increased, then the reaction tries to decrease it. Concentration is increased, the reaction tries to decrease it. How? By shifting the direction of equilibrium or changing the direction of equilibrium. That is called as the Lee-Chatterjee principle. What it means? Temperature constraint I will apply. Temperature constraint, what I do is I will increase the temperature. I am applying a temperature constraint by increasing the temperature of the reaction. Now, what temperature of the system? Means after taking the nitrogen oxygen, we are getting the nitric oxide that was in the equilibrium now. To that, what I do is I will heat that. It was in equilibrium. It was in equilibrium already. That vessel now I am going to heat it. So what happens here? See, as the temperature increased, to decrease the temperature, the reaction should absorb. To try, what the reaction is, they tries to maintain the equilibrium as a constant only, or equilibrium constant only. So what I do? So to maintain the equilibrium constant, the increased temperature should be decreased. And remember here, our mission, if forward is exothermic, then the backward becomes endothermic. If the forward is endothermic, backward becomes exothermic. So you see, this reaction is already endo, heat is absorbed, and I am increasing the temperature. Reaction should bring down that increased temperature by absorption, and the absorption is done in the forward direction only. Yes or no? See, forward is absorption, delta H positive. Heat is absorbed. Means in this reaction, if the temperature is increased, forward reaction is favored. To decrease the temperature. Forward reaction is favored. Whereas this here, 2NO giving N2 plus O2. delta H is equal to minus 118.7 kilojoules per mole. Same reaction reversed. The reaction is exothermic because minus sign is there. If I increase the temperature, see, forward reaction cannot be favored because already reaction is giving the heat and we are increasing the temperature by heating. So this plus this will increase the temperature only, which will affect the equilibrium constant. So what they do? To decrease the temperature, the reaction will favor in the backward direction because backward reaction is delta H is positive 180.7 kilojoules per mole. Means when I increase the temperature, N2 plus O2 giving the 2NO is favored rather than 2NO giving N2 plus O2. In this case, as the temperature increased, N2 plus O2 giving 2NO is favored. This favored, whereas here N2 plus O2 giving 2NO is favored as the temperature increases. Means forward is not favored, backward is favored, or backward reaction is favored. And the pressure constraint. That is increase in the pressure I do. See, if delta N of the gas is 0, remember this fact. Delta N of the gas is 0. In such reaction, effect of pressure will not do anything to the direction of the equilibrium. It will not affect the equilibrium. Whether you increase the temperature, increase the pressure or decrease the pressure, direction of the equilibrium will not be affected if delta N of the gas is 0. And see this example. What is the delta N of gas here? 2 minus 1 plus 1 which is equal to 2 minus 2 is equal to 0, means this reaction pressure does not have any effect. But please remember, only when the delta N of the gas is 0, pressure does not have any effect on the equilibrium. So what about this? 2NO giving N2 gas plus O2 gas. Here also delta N of the gas is 0. Therefore, pressure does not have any effect. Now, we see that another constraint, that is change in concentration. I will do with the increase in reactant concentration. What will happen? Then we will see decrease in the. Then we will see increase in the product concentration. So, see here, when the concentration of the reactants are increased, just see here, K is equal to NO square divided by N2 into O2. Remember, we have increased the reactant concentration. With this, you are getting the K value, you say 10 you are getting. Like you say 100, 2 into 5. So 100 by 10 is equal to 10. NO concentration was 100, N2 was 2, O2 was 5, you say equilibrium concentrations. What I do is I will not change the product concentration, only reactant concentration. Product concentration is 100 only. When the reactant I double it, 4 into 10 is equal to 100 by 40 is equal to 2.5 etc. Yes, yeah. Equilibrium constant got changed, but reactions tries to keep that equilibrium constant over there. How? What should happen there? See, if this is increased, that should be decreased by the reaction. How it can happen? See, these two concentration increased. If at all this increased concentration should be decreased, means more and more should combine and give the NO. More and more N2 and O2 should combine and give the NO. Means more NO should be formed, then little N2 and O2 should be decreased over there. Then again the equilibrium will be maintained. So, if the reactant concentrations are increased, remember your forward reaction is favored. Always it is. Note it properly. No confusion. Reactant concentration increase, forward reaction is favored. And if the reactant concentration is decreased, then the backward is favored. Opposite. Reactant concentration increase, forward favor, means obviously if the reactant concentration decrease, backward reaction is favored. Now we'll see when the product concentration is increase the product concentration. What can happen there? Just see here. For this only equilibrium constant, if you write K is equal to MO square divided by N2 into O2 concentration. Say MO is 10, so 10 square divided by 2 into 5 is equal to 100 by 10 is equal to 10. Now what I do is, I will double the product concentration by adding little nitric oxide. I double it. Then what happens then? K is equal to 20 square divided by 2 into 5. This is if the reaction is not adjusting itself. Then what happens here? It is 400 divided by 10 is equal to 40. Is the equilibrium constant constant? No. It's 10 and 40 is changing. So, in order to maintain the equilibrium constant, what happens? The reaction adjusts in such a way that added nitric oxide concentration should decrease. To decrease it, the backward reaction is favored. More and more nitric oxide decompose into nitrogen oxygen so that increased concentration is going to be decreased. So if product concentration is increased, then always backward reaction is favored. Note this properly. Note it properly. If the reactant concentration increased, forward reaction favored. If the product concentration increased, backward is favored. If the reactant concentration decreased, backward favored. If the product concentration decreased, forward is favored. Next one is addition of inert gases. Addition of inert gases. I can do it with a constant volume, B constant pressure. By maintaining the pressure constant, I can add inert gases, or by maintaining the volume constant, I can add the inert gases. But remember, as delta N of the gas is 0, that is number of reactant and the product molecules are same, addition of inert gases will not have any effect whether it is constant volume or whether it is constant pressure. Because CO N2 plus O2 giving 2 NO gas. So delta N is 0. Pressure does not have any effect over here in this case. The same thing happens with the inert gas addition also. Number of moles are same. But N2 plus 3H2 gas giving 2 NH3. In this reaction, there is an effect of addition of inert gases that we'll see in the next example.